We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
They call me Drac. Here I come, baby. I ain't gonna bite you. I just want you to hang on. Alright. Sounding like an empire to me.
Yeah, follow me, won't you come away? Don't worry, baby, everything's okay. You can run the game if you don't know my name, yeah. I'll take you where you've never been before. There's something for you, no whole lot more. You ain't got to seek everyone, no just free. Slide, slide, slide,
Yeah, baby, baby.
slide, slide,
Yeah, oh,
slide, slide, slide. Why don't you
I hope we give it to you.
be afraid, 'cause you gotta be late.
I need you now, don't let me down.
You're a low down lady, but your game is kinda shaky.
Be around when you want to get down. Alright. I like that.
Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Funkology 101. Unfortunately, the love doctor, the funk doctor himself, could not be in the house tonight, so I'm going to take over for him. I'm Richard Carr, General Manager for LA Talk Live,
Whoa.
and yes, I like the funk too. And this is a very special edition of Funkology 101. I've got some very special guests in my studio this afternoon. I've got Miss Ruth Carson and Victor, the X-Man Taylor, who jumped to the opportunity to come and join me here on Funkology 101, which is a little something I like to do just to get off track and just having fun on the microphone, playing some great music, and funk is definitely a part of that. So they jumped at the opportunity to come in here in the studios with yours truly, Richard Carr. Again, the funk doctor is off today. I'll do my best to replicate his image and likeness here, but otherwise, welcome to the show.
Oh.
And I want to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Funkology 101. Once again, a little something we like to do on Wednesdays afternoon. We're going to be moving that time slot because we're going to be passing the torch to Miss Ruth Carson, who joins us here live in the studio of LA Talk Live. Let me get some real applause going for you. There you go. Yep. But you know, I've been doing this for a long time, man, just hanging out here on the mic on Wednesdays, man, and having a fun time because it gives me this alternate ego that I can express through the Funk Doctor. And yes, I'm him, the Funk Doctor, yours truly. That's me. I come from behind the great curtain and show you who the Funk Doctor really is. But it's just something I like to do on Wednesdays. Again, been doing it for a couple years here on LA Talk Live. But we're very honored today to have some folks joining me on the mic live in the studios of LA Talk Live. What a great day. Once again, Victor, the X-Man Taylor, world-class bassist, musician, producer, big in the game. We got Miss Ruth Carson, who's going to be starting her all-new show here at LA Talk Live. Next month in November 2012, we don't even have a name for it yet. And
Brave Way.
we've at least got
Going to be
to
called
we've at
The
least
Brave
got to get
Way.
us started by showing her how to wear the earphones right, okay?
Absolutely. I know that. You know, 'cause they
Yeah,
feel,
they'll sound better if you flip them bad boys on the
you
other
know,
side.
like,
Trust me.
help me out.
Yeah,
you know?
just flip them. Just flip them there. Yeah,
You know,
there you
no
go.
wonder you sounded a little.
Yeah, a little
distant.
far away. Like, oh wait, I don't know if I'm gonna like it here on this station, huh?
And then were you streaming too?
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
like, oh,
Yeah, that's
no.
okay. You know, it's okay. We do it like that here. We understand. Today, it's all about the funk.
That's right.
I put it to the table to see if anybody was going to be willing to change up the show today, the show's format, because we was just going to do a generic musicology episode. But nah, I got voted down, at least by Victor the X-Man Taylor himself. Ruth might have wanted to stress in that area, but we're going to stick with the funk and keep it funky, because we've got Victor Taylor in the studio, and he brought his girl with him. He brought his axe.
Whoa.
What's her name again?
Well, you talk about X-Man, that's over there, that's Ecstasy.
Oh, yes, indeed.
1975, pre-CBS, in the precision, sunburst, and beat up, ready to go.
There you go. And I've heard her before, man. She sure can wail, I can tell you. All right, so we're going to have some fun on the mic. We're going to do this for the next hour or so, man. And we're going to bring you some funk. Enjoy the music. We're going to have some dialogue about funk. We've got some funksters in the studio with us today at Funkology 101. So be sure to stay tuned. If you're tuned in right now, tell your friends to go to www.latalklive.com and you'll see us in live and living color. You feel me? You don't have to do nothing else. There's no buttons to click. There's nowhere else to go. But there is. You can go to Boston Talk Live, Houston Talk Live, New Orleans, St. Louis, Seattle, Miami, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Tampa, D.C., Philadelphia, and if you're overseas, go to americatalklive.com. All a part of the vast Talk Live broadcast network, bringing you the world's best, world-class reality radio.
Yeah.
Right to your ears and to your eyes. We're going to be breaking in Miss Ruth Garson today. She's going to be starting her show. Get her feet wet. Let her talk about some of her experience in the music business. And, of course, we got the great Victor X-Man Taylor in the studio.
Spot.
Oh, yeah. So stay tuned. Enjoy the music. We'll be right back. This is Funkology 101, and I am Richard Carr, filling in for the Funk Doctor. Don't go away.
Woo.
Oh yeah, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Funkology 101 with yours truly, Richard Carr, in the house, filling in for the Funk Doctor, who couldn't make it today. His voice got a little screwed up, I don't know. Oh. In the studio, joining me live on the mic today, as we play through the next hour or so of some great funk music. We're going to expand our horizons just a little bit, play some other music that I enjoy. I'm sure some of my audience might enjoy it as well. But anyway, this is Funkology 101. Ruth Carson in the house, host, producer of an all-new show. A show yet unnamed, but that's going to be taking over this time slot on Wednesday afternoons starting in November 2012. And we've got the incredible bassist himself, Mr. Victor, the X-Man Taylor. A rousing round of applause.
Yeah.
To you both. Anyway, so what's going on, folks?
It's all good, Richie Rich.
It's great to have y'all joining me here on Funkology 101, man.
Thank you.
Funk Doctor. Everything's good, man. LA sun is shining. We're in here with Ruth Carson. She's about to commit arson on the industry, teach people how to get industrious and
already
illustrious.
Rhyming.
Having a good time.
No doubt. All right, so I'm going to play some music in the background. I want you all to introduce yourselves to our audience. Of course, ladies first. In deference to Miss Ruth Carson. So Ruth, I want you to share with our audience. I mean, for all of our first-time listeners, and for anyone out there who, yeah, she's a true rookie, and we got to get her used to doing radio.
This is my first time. It's
That's
not
all
often
right.
you're a virgin.
That's all right. All right. So, first of all, let me announce in the background the sounds of the amazing Victor, the X-Man Taylor himself. Oh, West Side. From the 24th Letter CD. A little old school X-Man for you. Imagine the new stuff that he's doing. This is sort of ahead of the time. So, again, Miss Ruth Carson, welcome to LA Talk Live. I know you've got a show starting soon. Got to get you used to working with the gear and all that good stuff. But that's all right. You're doing fine. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Who is Ruth Carson? And why do you want to do a global broadcast on our network?
The music industry has changed so incredibly drastically. And every 20, 30 years, as Mr. Victor knows, the industry eats itself. But this time, it's really not only eating itself, it's beginning to eat our people and its artists.
Right.
And I felt when I had this opportunity to come on to LA Talk Live that it would be so very important to be able to create a platform for artists who no longer have a place to be played, who no longer have a place to be heard. Everything is such a conglomerate now. Everything is a formula, a method. I'm not going to use the word payola, but I am going to use the word 5 people pretty much
Run the
whole thing. And
5?
Pretty much 5 people run this entire traditional music industry. And that's why when you listen to traditional radio, you hear great artists, but the same ones over and over and over again.
Right.
How many times within 1 hour can we hear the most beautiful Rihanna? The respect I have for a Beyonce, Kanye, Drake, all the features Drake is on, Nicki Minaj, and then you take those same people and then they're on X Factor, and then they're on American Idol. So it just gets recycled with the same people, and then they determine who is going to be the next pop artist.
Incredible.
And if you look at it from that, it's being regurgitated. The same births are being birthed by the same people, by the same management companies. If you try to go to Jive Records and you have a Justin Bieber, you're not going to get inside of Island Def Jam, period, unless Scooter, his manager, or Justin say so. And he's earned his spot. But what does that do for the other 13, 14, 15-year-old boys who are talented or just as talented? So what you've created here at LA Talk Live And what I realize is that this is a platform for some of the greatest talent in the world to have a platform, not only to be heard, but to talk about other things. And then I'm going to let, Vic talk in a second. But one thing that's very, very important when you are promoting your record for a particular record label, you can only talk about that record or you can only talk about that single.
Right.
There is more to an artist than just that single or that album. They
That's
have a
right.
lot more to give and a lot more to share about that journey of how they got there. And when you have a platform like this, they get to become whole. And I think it's needed, I think it's necessary, and I want to give the voice back to the artist.
Now, I know your show is still in development. You're listening to Ruth Carson, Brave One Entertainment, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, right?
Yes.
And I know your show is still in development, still as yet unnamed as you begin to further refine what you want to etch out here
Hmm.
in this mountain of opportunity
Yes.
for independent artists to come and express themselves. We talked offline before the show, and I'm so happy to have a good friend of mine, Victor Taylor, in our studios tonight. Again, rousing round of applause. Victor is one of the pioneer broadcasters on LA Talk Live, and as we evolve to the Talk Live Broadcast Network, as you know, we've got 15 other URLs out there. We're on iTunes, Radio Flag, Stitcher Radio, UStream, pretty much everywhere. You know, you can actually go to TiVo and pick us up through the Live 365 network and on all pads and smartphones throughout the globe. Victor was one of the pioneers. We talked about how he was the co-host of a show we used to do called Indie Lounge
Hmm.
on the Talk Live Broadcast Network, LA Talk Live, when we were back at what we affectionately
Back in
called
the
the
day.
Egg because it was on Canterbury Street. Canterbury Egg.
right.
All right, anyway, called it the Egg. And he always brought through this incredible music. And what we're listening to in the background right now is actually Vic Taylor from his CD, The 24th Letter, way ahead of its time because this is, some years ago that you created this incredible,
Most definitely.
pivotal piece of music. And again, with this brother being a part of our team, we got to meet other incredible artists like Saba Saba. Saba, I hope you're listening right now. You better be if you're
Saba
not.
Saba.
Another pioneer broadcaster here at LA Talk Live.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're very fortunate to have him in the studio as well. Hey, Vic, let's go
Hey,
back
what's up?
a little bit, man, in time.
Take it back.
Right. When you start
Back it up.
thinking about the series that you did on the Indie Lounge for indie artists, how to get themselves published. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Hey, well, I want to give thanks to LA Talk Live, to Big Rich,
Well, we
Richard
ain't gonna
Carr,
be doing all this mutual
and
admiration
all that
society
love.
stuff.
We
Right?
get that love to the lounge.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, the Indie Lounge, when you're coming on to LA Talk Live, you have to give respect to where things really count. And of course, things count when records are counting in that record shop, when
There you
records
go.
are counting out the trunk, when barcodes are being swiped, and music is playing behind movies and television and all the different places that music can play. So publishing was one of the ways that I've seen a lot of artists got as a producer. As producer on Ice Cube and Mac 10 and a lot of other pretty big records. I've seen also a certain amount of information kept from a lot of the other producers and artists and writers. So it was really important for me to bring that to the Indie Lounge. And as we learned so much and introduced so many artists within that format, it was mandatory that we got real with music and ownership.
And bring it, you did.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And again, let's give some props to your main man Saba Saba.
Oh,
I
yeah,
met
most
both of you brothers
definitely.
together.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but to evidence your pioneering efforts with LA Talk Live back when we were at the Egg
Oh,
in '09 into 2010, we've got some photographs up on the website.
whoa.
If you go to the social link on our website, I've got you and Saba Saba sitting in the Egg. You with your bass in your hand, ecstasy.
Right.
Saba Saba sitting to your right. Both of y'all all shaded up Hollywood style.
As
How
usual.
you young people do it.
That's funny.
But took me back every time I look at that picture, it takes me back.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
the new grounds you guys pioneered, the new avenues you opened up for independent artists. I remember Saba having ED calling on the show, and
ED.
he certainly went on to do some big things in music as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your background in music because you're so humble and deferential. But let's
Great.
tell folks who is Victor the X-Man Taylor.
Hey, thanks again, Rich. X-Man, Victor Taylor, who I am, the son of BW and Bernice Taylor, of course. My father put the first 24 track room on Compton and Poinsettia, and he was assisted by some greats like Marvin Gaye and people like Johnny Guitar Watson, Marvin Gaye, Earth, Wind and Fire. So many people came through. Those ended up being my teachers as a kid. And even before we got to the studio, you had to call me George Clinton back in the eighth grade.
You was George Clinton. Huh?
You had to call me George Clinton.
Victor Taylor is George Clinton.
That's what I was. But eventually, I would go on to be able to let all that teaching go loose as I started to produce a lot of big records on artists, like I said, such as Ice Cube, Mac 10, work with KRS-One, eventually do work with George Clinton, Cam. It's a lot of people, really.
List goes
Lynch
on.
Mob. And some of the bigger records, again, some of the bigger records that really did the good numbers. And working with BET, a lot of the big directors, F. Gary Gray, who I still work with right now. What's up, Gary?
Hope you're listening.
Robert Townsend. What's up, Robert? A lot of the bigger directors. And going on to do my first passion, which is playing the bass and make the kind of music that you're hearing in the background, where I get a chance to fuse 1920s, 1930s with a little bit of TV from the 70s and then bring in some funk from the 70s and 80s and make what would be the X-Man album, 24th Letter.
Let's take a pause for the cause. I mean, not a commercial break, but that is to do this. In the background, once again, more music from the 24th Letter, the CD.
Yes, sir.
This is Back in the Day.
Back in the Day.
Hey, listen, first time I heard this, man, even before I met you, just that little lick. Give it to me again. Back in the Go ahead.
Wish we could play back in the day. High school dances and house parties. Mini skirts and the girls were brave like, stealthily creeping through the passageway.
Yeah.
2-4 floaty boaty, throw that bass. Born bred on the block at 1 Deuces. Step, dip, slide, lean to the right. Watts, California, RTD to school. Teacher classified me as a classroom fool. 2 turntables made me kind of cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of back in the day stuff.
And written and produced
Yes.
And when I hear
by
something
the
like
X-Man
that,
himself. Word.
I swear, if I got Erica Badu on the phone right this second, she would lose her mind.
You bring her out of retirement, wouldn't you?
Well, she would lose her mind. She'd be like, "Who is that?
Right.
I want him
All
right now."
Now hold on. What we're gonna do? Now we're gonna take a pause for the master himself, the X-Man. I want to play this one, and I might have to re-rack this one, man. This is the title track from the CD, the 24th Letter. So I'm gonna fade this up, fade it back down, and restart this. Listen to this boy spit. Check it out.
Every ground do that black. What's up, Doc? Watch. Scotch. X-Man. The 24th letter pulled up. Next is down the goods up. From under the ground, the hood's up. At south of town and hooked up. Thoughts connected by my groove line. Word to swerve the bold blue line. Create lyrics. Pepsi, wreck, limmer, spirits. Lost to hooks, man. Took band to the 5th Street. Better to the merchant any hip. Me to the broad picture and die. Some house away. Kept hearing that bomb as poetry every single day. Scrap Zulu and all this man suave. Voila, second floor spoken word, voila. Aha, these LPP, I speed out, reason I put beats to green eyes. Who knew slapping would turn out high? Every ground knew that black. What's up, Doc? Watch. Who knew vamping would turn out high? X-Man knew that black. Watch out, Doc. Watch every day to my first standing. Obey for sure. Set off the hood tour. The 24th Atlanta, Mecca, the hood tour, the cure. To parallel lines implode, X-Man baseline explode. The 24th letter, Mecca, the world tour, the pure. Africa, Asia, Portugal, go where no others go. I load my truck, I bend the block, and then straight punch it through the coffee shop. I reach that spot, I load that truck, and show those father muckers just what's up. Join back, third, I get skewed for spoken words from Earth Pop for Misty Muse. Lose down, step up, the vengeance about growth, and plus the adrenaline rush be like stuff, right, capture, break a bass, tag, nab it, back, chatter, and the X-Man have it. These 10 fingers, dead ringers, the style lingers like Charlie Mingers, you must fingers. Stanley Parker spot the bass style, Pac and Biggie help the words pal. Mom and Pops get both the feet down, wife and the daughter approve the rebound. Charlie Parker keep the riffs moist, Quincy Jones while I produce joints. Most high to extent, annoying, and now I'm in your face on bass in a place like
Give it to him, X.
hella full of a palm. Blast each and every block, bass popping the sparks. Sunspot this street, spread love, spoken word. Rock at the venue where the poet told me not to serve. Now people say I'm playing games, those suckers know I play those things. All them haters know that 24 be dipping on the lyric mission, way ripping it on the bass. Break.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, in the background, the sounds of Victor, the X-Man Taylor, the 24th letter.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Hey, listen, that ain't just him on the bass itself. That's him spitting as well. And big ups to Butterscotch accompanying you.
Clinton.
Man, that's some
Word up to Oakland.
incredible sound, huh?
From
Right.
from America's Got Talent.
I already know what Ruth's about to say. I hope you're watching, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Funkology 101, a very special edition with Victor, the X-Man Taylor. Sounds in the background, and also Miss Ruth Carson from Rave One Entertainment. Man, this piece right here, hold on, check this out.
X-Man baseline explode, the 24th letter, Mecca, the world tour.
That was the one that hooked me. When he put the Mecca on it, I'm like, what you know about Mecca?
Mecca, the hood tour, the cure. Two parallel lines implode, X-Man baseline explode, the 24th letter, Mecca, the world tour, the pure. Africa, Asia, Portugal, go where no others go. The 24th letter.
Ow! The Funk Doctor would be mighty proud of your boy today. No doubt, no doubt. Wow.
That took a couple of years to learn how to do.
Miss Ruth Carson also joins us. Brave One Entertainment.
Yeah.
She got a little background in the music business too. We're going to delve down into that more and more as the hour progresses here. You're listening to Funkology 101 Wednesday afternoons. We're going to have to give way in the future coming up in November.
Yeah.
Bow aside so Miss Ruth Carson can pick up the mantle, pick up the torch, and carry on this legacy that we started some years ago with Victor the X-Man Taylor on the Indie Lounge. Now, a show yet unnamed, but I just wanted to refer to her because she had a look in her eye like, and I just want to, I'm psychic on Wednesdays between 3 and 5. Sitting around with the Funk Doctor all this time, and I think I know what you want to ask.
What year was that?
Well, I thought it was going to be, why aren't you signed?
No. That is actually
why aren't you up? How did I sit beside?
That is actually what he should not be is signed.
I hear that. Okay.
Because
School
they
me.
would not know what
School
to
me.
do with this kind of genius.
Amazing, right?
Would not know what to do with this kind of genius.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ruth.
This has its own lane. This has its own life. It doesn't need to be buried. It doesn't need to be homogenized, and it definitively doesn't need an A&R person trying to tell him what to do.
Now,
Okay.
let's get to your question. I'm sorry about that. What was your question again?
When did first of all,
How far ahead of it in the
I am
future?
bowing. I am bowing.
So you
That's
thought we were just
love,
playing
Ruth.
around when I was talking about that indie lounge thing? Like, they on there playing some, some bullshit. Nah.
Nah, what
What
year,
year
did you
was
do
that? That had to be 2009.
Absolutely stunning. Brilliant.
That's when I first came across this
Just
piece.
brilliant.
2009. You got it right after we got through with the record.
And it's still current, and it's still relevant, and you
Isn't
know
that
what? And it's brand new because not enough people have heard about it.
Nobody's really heard it.
Nobody's really heard it.
How about that? When you speak on the aspect of how relevant it is, it's so relevant, it's unheard, it's so brand new. And it is heard because we actually play his music, and I'm going to get on
Thank
Vic a
God
little
for
later
that.
on in the show because this is the brother that helped me understand how music or radio interacts with the music industry. I sat as his board op many nights listening to him educate the world as a whole on our global format about what that connection is. And we're going to delve into that a little bit more. And I'm going to get into Vic a little bit to find out how much
Ruth knows
you've been
though.
tracking
Yeah.
what's going on with your music. And Ruth has posed a question to us as a station that maybe we can pose to our audience and maybe get some of these folks calling in a little later on in the show about
definitely.
how that connection is really made and monetized, right?
On the internet.
Word. There
Because
you
the
go.
internet is a new beast.
You feel me?
It is the future.
All
It
right.
has to be the future. A little bit about my real quick background. Former vice president of marketing for Columbia Records.
Woo!
Former, thank you.
Heavy.
Senior VP of marketing for Capitol Records, and that's where I did jazz and reggae and rock and
Dope.
soul and hip hop, and was able to do it all.
Mm.
Came back out of the dying breed of the record label, started my own management company. At that time, it was called She Entertainment. That was before I was a mother.
Okay.
And when She Entertainment, it was about me.
Okay.
Brave One Entertainment. My daughter's name is Brave.
Oh, that's odd.
So my Brave One Entertainment is really about my daughter.
About your daughter.
So when
That's
I had
odd.
She Entertainment, I was consulting and or managing Michelle Ndegeocello, Tony, Raphael Sadiq.
Oh, so this falls
Q-Tip.
right into your wheelhouse in terms of sound.
Absolutely.
Because all of those names you mentioned, and the more you will, please
Real.
forgive my interruption.
Trendsetters.
Trendsetters.
Yeah.
Word.
Q-Tip, Ali. I had the pleasure of starting the career of the infamous Jay Dilla, who passed
Bless
way too soon.
that career.
Our condolences.
Yeah,
Still here with us though. Music.
and will be forever.
spirit,
And
yeah.
will be forever.
Oh, genius.
And a matter of fact, the four producers that my main producers were Q-Tip, Ali, Raphael Sadiq, and Jay Dilla, called the Uma.
That's ridiculous.
And that was pretty ridiculous. That was my producer stable. And then I had Cree Summer from, you might remember Cree from
we know
Different World.
Cree,
And
yeah.
Cree is an amazing performer and singer. Lenny Kravitz made that record. Unfortunately, a record label didn't know what to do with it. Just a little bit too
And that's how
alternative.
so
a
much of
great
that
artist,
music got
though.
buried.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, from my own experience, and again, I'm not a musician. I claim musicology basically because that means, like a biologist, I study a certain thing. And I love and study music to that degree. I do have me a little alto saxophone in the other room. Have I brought that out for you yet?
Break it out.
I call it my dope gold chain. That's what I call it, my dope gold chain right
Break
now.
my
'cause
dope gold chain
I got to
out.
get back on it and learn how to play it again. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not a musician, but I so love music, and I hear and feel viscerally some of what musicians want to impart to the listener. The names you mentioned, the talent, the incredible ingenuity behind their music, and yet so buried. I found myself getting hip to some of this music several years after it was released.
Right.
And as in this case of Vic, I mean, this was just completely fortuitous that Van was in a place in time. Do the math on that, where Saba Saba had both his CD and Vic's, and said, "Here's some music. Hey, I got a radio station. Hey, here's some music," and that's how it happened. And again, I want to go back to how
Thank God
that
for
how
that.
that counts in internet radio. We're going to discuss that a little later on in the show because we play a lot of music from Victor the X-Man Taylor, and I want to go back to talking about how we track that. But some of that great music, like Tony, I didn't realize how talented Raphael Sadiq was or is until later,
Crazy.
because he wasn't popping, right? Meaning that wasn't on the pop charts.
Right.
Feel me?
Right.
So he wasn't popping like that. So a lot of his music, you really had to be down with a gorgeous curly haired girl like you, for somebody to put you on with a cool ass handsome dude like that, slapping the bass in the club somewhere. Like, yo, where does this come from?
Raphael and Vic would be sick together.
Oh, come on.
Just
It could be ill.
sick.
Yeah.
But I also had the Erica Badu.
Oh,
and I
my
don't want
goodness.
to
Yeah.
Pioneer.
forget
Yeah.
Badu. And I also managed Jada Pinkett Smith for a while when she first jumped into the foray of music. And but when she switched to metal, that ended that relationship
Right.
because that is the only genre that I don't
Right.
spiritually
Not
get.
feeling.
I just
Right.
I don't spiritually get it. I don't want to, for me in metal, and even my child, like I said, being, I don't understand that. But Jada as who she is and what she represents,
Right.
one of the most brilliant people on the planet.
Musically. You're saying.
Jada's all
Jada
around.
is
I mean, even on the musical tip though. Now,
on the musical tip. What I
Did-
applaud Jada for is the fact that she said, "I'm gonna do metal
wow,
because I want to.
I'ma do me.
I'm gonna try it.
I'ma do me,
I'm going to
you
try it. I don't, I don't sing like Badu, and I don't want to fit in, and I don't want to try to. I'm gonna do metal. And to have that kind of, it's one thing that you have the money and the platform. It's a whole other thing that you have the confidence and the spirit and the heart to still say, I'm gonna do, just like she's doing sex trafficking right now and bringing that to the forefront.
Right.
Like she, took the biggest movie star in the world and now has turned that into a conglomerate along with the kids. Sex trafficking, Obama, working with Clinton. HBO
She's a phenomenal
specials.
woman.
She's
I mean, in
phenomenal.
the classical reference.
So as it relates to metal, I just applaud her for just going.
Definitely.
I'm just going to do something else in between, like
In
I said.
between all other stuff.
Her husband and family and the things that she believes in. So Jada, complete.
Let's give her a round of applause.
At all levels. For
Now
all
get your
reasons.
sexy ass over here to the studios of LA Talk Live.
You won't
We
even-
had Jim Brown. He was here. It was good enough for big old Jim.
I'm gonna bring through some people now.
I would love to meet Jada Pinkett because I'm out of Philadelphia. So is Will. I got family from his side of town. He is so revered in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Jada being from B-more, Baltimore. You live in Philly. You shoot through Baltimore for the pretty girls and nothing else.
Hey, well, Jada's one.
Yes, sir.
You will lose your train of
yeah.
thought.
Yeah, well,
Male or female, you'll be like, huh?
They're all pretty.
Baltimore, DC area was on and popping back in the
Tupac,
80s, 90s.
Jada,
All good. Great stuff
Right.
came out of there. And great talent. So, Jada to me is just like home. So I'd love to have them come up here.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to say when I was saying that I want to work with bring a voice to the indie artists, I was talking to manager extraordinaire David Lombard the other day, who brought us Denny and Tommy and In Vogue and that movement
What
from
a name.
Oakland.
Lombard.
Back in the day. And, he also has right now Johnny Gill and Rashawn Patterson. And
JG.
they no longer, Johnny, he just played the new single for me, which is amazing. So it's not just artists who are brand new. It's also artists who don't have deals, who, again, don't have a voice because they don't have a record label.
Right.
Or, and when we start, part of my show also will be the education process of I'm fortunate enough to come from the old paradigm of how record labels used to work and was able to reinvent myself to realize how the
we'll
new
fix that
paradigm.
for you.
Right.
We'll fix that for you here at Internet.
Right.
And how
It's
the
a
new
brave new world.
Well, and that's what I'm
And I know you
bringing
can relate to
is that, you know what I mean? Like the new paradigm
Right.
of the internet and how to do it much cheaper. And not only that, how to protect yourself, how not to get your publishing ripped off, how to make sure that you're on BMI or ASCAP, how to make sure that you've got your co-writes and your splits, how to make sure that how to consolidate social, marketing and media, how it can be affordable, how you can stay. So I'm thinking of calling the show The Brave Way because it is a brave new way. It could be a brave new world, but The Brave Way because it is really showing together and teaching and learning together how you can manifest and stay in control of your own career without going, I want to have a record deal.
By doing it which way?
The brave
The
way.
brave.
Boom. See? There it is. You nailed it. We just
The
sorted it
brave
out.
way.
Let's talk about the brave way.
Yes.
And a couple of different iterations. I see that Vic tonight is wearing a t-shirt from P. Miller.
Yeah.
Had him on the phone with us last week.
Oh yeah.
Calling in from, I think it was here in LA, just couldn't get down to the studio in time, but phoned in, half hour on the phone. The brave way, right? Talk about
brave
Victor the
way.
X-Man Taylor.
Hey.
Here's a brother pioneered a whole new sound. Now, what you heard as original and unbelievably unique, this brother created this sound because, of course, you might hear Cat slap the bass, but spit on the mic and slap the bass and write the incredible lyrics that he's got, right? Just off the chain, right?
It blew me away.
So, not to gush over the
That's a
cat,
good
but
look.
I mean, you talk about the brave way yourself.
right.
The things you've done in the music business as a VP for different labels and record companies. This would be the ideal name for a show like yours, because I tell you one thing, we talked about this whole elevator pitch thing. Once you get your show started, what you gonna tell somebody if Jay-Z standing next to you in the elevator like,
Right.
Jay, what you doing in here? Hey, look here, I got a radio show. Why don't you come on? Oh yeah, what's your radio show? It's called The Brave Way.
Right.
Here's my card. Say no more.
Right. There it is.
Let him walk away with a nice guy like The Brave Way. What? Oh, that's me. I'm Jay-Z. I did it the brave way.
Certainly did.
Right?
Right.
Did you not, my brother?
Jay-Z.
The brave way.
Definitely
I'm talking
one of
about
the
did
brave
you
ones.
not? That's why I mentioned you earlier.
Hey, well,
The
you know, to
brave
be
way.
real with you,
His own unique sound.
It took braveness, and listening to Tom Brown in the background. I got to pay homage
Funkin' with
to
Jamaica.
Bernard Wright, Tom, and the family that came out of that coast that really put a real big fire underneath me. But yes, a song like 24th Letter, which is playing the bass and rapping, you know, that song took about a year to really learn how to play slow, and then I had to take another year to learn how to play it the right way. But that kind of wired me up to be able to translate songs into that style overnight almost now. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot. But again, I thought that the West Coast, as hip hop went West Coast wise, I thought it was getting boring. I thought that a lot of the rappers were picking some simple music, and it was getting a little bit boring for me. So I had to do something that challenged me. And that's brave. It takes a little bit of guts.
Absolutely.
You know, but when I perform it for people, they seem to really, really grasp hold to, wow, this is something else. And then,
Something very unique.
you know, Butterscotch Clinton, which is another, she beatboxes while she plays
Shouts to
classical
her.
piano.
Shouts to her, man.
Yeah.
Because,
Crazy.
you know, after listening to your song, I just want to interject real quick.
Yeah.
I had to look. You mentioned Butterscotch. I mean, I looked her up. Gorgeous piece of eye candy,
yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
So here's a gorgeous
Fine.
girl
Fine.
in this incredible talent for beatboxing. And now you're telling me keyboards as well.
Yeah, she plays classical piano. I mean, she's from America's Got Talent, and she's one of the finalists. And, you know, Butterscotch, she beatboxes while she plays. So us doing a record together, in fact, we did that record a few days after she started off a record for Stanley Clarke, Victor Wooten, and Marcus Miller, the three baddest bass players in the game. She started off their album that they did together. And then we were walking around town doing our record. So can't ask for more than that. Braveness across the board. Brave, recognized, brave. Oh, that's a good name. Brave, recognized, brave.
Brave, recognized, brave. I think we came up with a whole new reference for the new millennium, baby, 2013. Brave, recognized, brave.
That's a whole new
That's your
line
tagline
for
on
my
that
girl.
show.
There you go. Let me
A little bit more
down.
X-Men in the background. I got to play this with my favorite X-Men song, Kung Fu.
Fight.
Yeah, tell them about it when we come back, all right?
Sure.
Check it out, y'all.
5, 6, ninjas bro sticks.
Watch them on drop, you can't stop her. Teacher, get the grasshopper. I
Found the club on the Beijing Mall, and a man pulled a bucket to the kung fu match.
I'm the illest thing that you ever seen. Master of the fine guillotine. On with my journey.
Touche, NWA, bonsoir.
They watch me from the left, and they watch me from the right. Here come the chef with the Ginsu knife.
What's the picture up on the hill, sister warrior, armed with the hot base skills.
He wanna take my life and put that on my mama and serve my ass and bring me how to
Like
serve.
Jackie Chan and that pimp Chris Tucker in the kung fu stance is too hard for the
Which style will I use this week? The quarterback technique.
Then back to the bar. Give me a double. Twenty-fourth letter, 24th letter, that blue face. Then I stick in that boom. 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 Then I stick in that boom.
Before you come in my house, you can take off your Nikes and bow. And now show you how to withstand this
Into the dragon, I don't need no son.
cannabis. Venomous play mantis. It's like Chinese arithmetic.
Hold up, man. I mean, did you hear that?
Come on now.
What he say before you come into my dojo, you take your Nike off, take your Nikes off and bow.
Into the dragon now lead, young son.
Quarters, geishas, and Keisha await new orders.
Incredible lyricism in this, man. Because when you, I mean, just how tricky the words are.
Oh yeah.
That's what captured
Oh,
my
yeah.
ear. I'm like, oh, that was clever.
Oh, yeah.
Take off your
Oh,
Nikes
yeah.
and bow.
One of the best. Ice Cube, one of the best.
Word.
One of the best.
And here's my other favorite line from this: Geishas and Keisha await
Await
new
new
orders. So you took it from the east to the hood, and
Right,
the
right.
Keishas await new orders.
Cross 'em up.
I was just all up in the club with you in my mind.
club. So the 24th letter is a
Let's
comic
speak on
book.
it. Let's speak on it.
The 24th letter is a comic book. It's a black superhero who plays the bass. He flies through the world of hip hop, making sure that people don't bite the styles of the greats. So in this album, I defend the Biggies, I defend the Cubes, I defend the Tribes, I defend the Nas's, I defend all of the hip hop originators, the Eminems, the people that started trends, to make sure that we don't have any biters. So that's what the 24th letters thing is.
Amazing,
So Kung Fu
dude.
fighting is myself and Ice Cube walking through the streets of China.
Whooping ass.
Whooping ass. But again, I coupled the bass guitar and the geishas and all that good stuff.
Oh man! Again, the complexity of just the verbiage and the lyricism alone, I thought was very, very unique.
Hey,
Y'all
I gotta
mentioned-
give it up, to she mentions Erica Badu a
Yeah,
lot.
I just had to play this, but this is just a little background thing.
Erica
One of my favorites.
is again Erica D'Angelo. It was a whole little movement that was underlining when Kadar and a lot of those folks started hitting.
Neoclassic soul.
Yeah, when the neo started hitting,
And the roots.
and it really touched me. I was touched. You know what I'm saying?
We all were.
So hey,
Raphael.
Raphael.
Bilal.
That's funny. I was at the Golden Tail, I think, when Tony broke in LA. I was doing sound with a guy named Bruce Cecil and Dat Taylor with tour Earth, Wind & Fire now. Dat's their sound guy. And he also tours with Yanni now. And so, I got a chance to see Tony's for the first time. And in fact, at the Golden Tail. And people dissed them the first time they came out. Nobody would look
So
at
unique,
them.
huh?
But when they started playing, I saw the LA crowd trying to diss them, but by about 2 minutes in, they had to give it up. This was one of the newest things we'd ever seen. And what was so cold about Tony is all of them, they play a dope song, then they all switch instruments.
Word.
It was killing
taught
it.
themselves.
It was killing it. And Raphael Sadiq didn't sing lead the whole night. In fact, I'm used to Dwayne Wiggins singing lead in the Tony. So when Raphael had the actual voice that would start pulling the early hits, we were really surprised because Dwayne was the Tony that we were introduced to at first. And even when I see Dwayne to this day, I always talk to him according to that first day LA saw TTT. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But
And
there
it was
something
Ed
else.
Eckstein who was one of the first presidents of Mercury Records, African American.
Ed, I know the name.
Because Tony was the first real live
Right.
band to get notoriety, African American.
Right.
And Ed Eckstein of Billy Eckstein heritage.
Oh, really?
His son.
Wow.
Was president of Mercury Records, and he signed Vanessa Williams, the first Black Miss America at that time, who they tried to make her take
I remember
her fall.
Vanessa.
You still do.
She blew up on that one though. That's the coldest.
And we don't talk about Ed Eckstein a lot. We'll bring up
It
some
was
of the
bad.
Billy
legends
Eckstein.
Billy Eckstein.
Not often mentioned, and I want to go to someone else we talked about offline when we talked earlier this week, who hasn't played a lot, and maybe in some other stratosphere under a rock, people don't know him. Bootsy Collins, it is. We'll come back to that. But my mother was a big fan of Billy Eckstein, and Billy Eckstein was a big star because he did more than music. He's been on TV, and he had been in movies. He
Right.
played bit parts here and there. You see Billy Eckstein quite a lot.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, classic crooner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little something in the background that I got turned onto back in the mid '70s. This is for you kids that even touch the stereo. What you doing with a Victor? Don't, Ruth, get away from that stereo. You couldn't even put the album on. You couldn't even touch the needle.
He's the doctor.
Yeah, this is the phone doctor.
Ratchet.
I'm channeling my inner.
Remember
funk
the
doctor.
dust on the needle?
Oh, remember you had
no,
to pluck
not
it
the
off real
dust.
gently.
Well, I wasn't gentle. I was
Oh,
too little. I was.
That's
like,
why you
"What's-"
couldn't touch the stereo.
Right,
See,
that's why I
do it.
couldn't touch the stereo.
This is a little something I fell in love with, man, from Funkadelic. as they went through all of the different iterations of Parliament Funkadelic. This is like from the mid '70s, a little something called Cosmic Slot. We're gonna just let it rock in the background, but I love this song. It's incredible.
Word to George.
No doubt. But
that made me cry.
oh wow. He's still with us, right?
Yeah, he's still with us.
I hear George cleaned up his act. We had another bassist in here on the Michael Collier Morning Show. I'm gonna get his name for you. Who played with George as well. And you're gonna know this cat, I know.
Skeet. It's a few people.
Doesn't ring a bell, but
Junie.
I've got to look it up online.
Cordell
on a page.
I know you didn't have Cordell Boogie
I
Molson
want
up in there.
Richie, Robbie, something like that. I forget. It'll come back.
Okay.
Nonetheless, he was mentioning how George is clean cut like you now. I hear.
Dope.
Is that right?
Well,
y'all know that?
Last time I saw George,
I know Bootsy is.
He shaved it all off too.
No, not clean cut.
Right.
He's
clean cut
clean,
in terms
sober.
of the spirit.
Oh well, so was George. They say
Yeah.
George has cleaned himself up, and somebody said they saw a picture of him. He was completely clean shaven, all the hair gone, everything cleaned up. He just completely turned his life.
I heard he's getting his hand on his publishing a little bit more now too.
Wow.
From a bystander. I don't know how legitimate that is, but
I hope so.
yeah, I heard that he's starting to get closer to what was taken from him, which is great. But I was on the stage with Humpty Hump for George's birthday.
I heard, man.
And
Big
we
ups
were
for that, my brother Humpty Hump.
Rocking Funkology with Humpty Hump. And I was on bass. Humpty was on the piano, boy. And I'm going to tell you something. George walked through with full braids, rainbow braids, and an entourage of a bunch of girls and guys. It was great. So word to George. Happy birthday back then. And
Okay.
he should have had another one since then, though.
I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, talking about some of the great music that you don't hear played enough.
Right.
Now, this is internet radio, so we're global.
That's right.
All the music we're playing is everywhere you want to be and aren't even. You could be on a space capsule. As long as you got internet access, you can be tuned in and hear this music.
Dope.
Great music in my personal belief. Cosmic Slap, can't fade that. This is from the album Maggot Brain. They were out there. Okay, bet. Yeah, I know I had some functions in the house. So, all that said, lots of music that doesn't get played. And Ruth and I were talking a couple of days ago about how Bootsy's music doesn't get as much airtime as it perhaps used to, but most definitely should. Because here was a classic funkster and an incredible talent. And after watching a documentary about Bootsy, one of the things that forever made Bootsy, or made me a big Bootsy fan, I was back in the day, but one of the things that endeared me to him permanently was that he was sober all this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or got sober and cleaned his life up, and
Right.
did a lot of funking
Right.
as a sober artist.
Absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, Bootsy never got high, did he?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think
Oh, did he?
they
Okay.
did.
All right. So
Yeah.
I'm mistaken then.
You are very mistaken.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's what
He got
the
his
beauty
funk
of
on,
it,
that's cool.
because he got
That's
it
fine.
all back together.
He really
Like,
did, yeah.
And have you heard his? Do you even know that he had a record out last year?
I knew he had a new record. I haven't heard it though.
It's called Funk Capital of the World. There you go. I haven't even heard it.
Right.
I'll bring it in next week.
Oh, please,
by the
by
way,
all
the only
means.
reason Bootsy couldn't join our family today is because he had a funeral to go to in Indianapolis. It's the only reason he's not on the air.
I would lay it out on this table. Bootsy walk up in here.
Ah, man.
And Bootsy will walk up
Flip
in here.
around.
And the reason I know about the Funk Capital of the World is because I did the marketing for it. He signed to a label called Mascot Records out of the UK.
Dope.
And they called me last January.
Okay.
And I did the marketing for that particular record.
Dope.
And
Dope.
it's so tricky how to... And the reason why we talked a little bit about... The reason you don't know is because there is no format today on any radio station for funk music. And if you know of one...
Unimaginable, isn't that?
Right.
And if you know of one, and if anyone
What do you
calls
mean,
in
if I know
and
one?
tells
I know
me
of 15 of them.
traditional,
The Talk Live broadcast network
right?
and all of our-
Besides, like, which is
Screw the
why
traditionals.
why this is so
That's why they're
intriguing to
failing.
me.
Yeah.
Why it's so intriguing to me is because we can do that. Bootsy lives in Indianapolis.
Right.
And what he has done for Indianapolis, just being besides the Indianapolis whatever basketball team that there is, Radio 1. It's a conglomerate today, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conglomerate. It's
God.
Clear Channel, it's Cumulus, and it's Radio 1. And now we're in Bootsy's hometown. You gotta.
I had to give it out.
Now you know what's really deep. is as I played a little and hold that thought, a little George Clinton a few minutes ago, and when this comes on, you almost immediately, especially young people, easy.
Everybody say easy. That's right.
Easy. And look, have no idea where this really comes from, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Now, how are they not playing this on the air anymore?
Come on now.
That's what I'm saying, Bruce. Just said what?
That song changed my life.
All right, so I want to get back to it. I didn't mean to interrupt. I
No,
just came on. It's just
we
amazing.
couldn't help
great
it.
music.
Everybody
Yeah,
just
give it up.
everybody did the same thing.
All right, so you were saying though.
You know, the short and the long of it is that there is no format today that you can play a legend like Bootsy.
And when you say there's no format, what do you mean by that? The stations just don't make a part of their programming schedule
Not part of the program.
encompass funk anymore.
It's schedules and radio stations are programmed by suits and advertisers and money, and there is no funk being played on radio, and definitively not enough to break a record or to sell.
So essentially, you're
through.
saying we here at the Talk Live Broadcast Network are really doing something wrong. We need some suits and some money to come up in here and change things.
So deal with the machine.
We're not doing anything.
No, we're not going to do
All right.
anything. What we're going to
Sounds
do
like we are.
is what we're going to do is, really get the real story, out there.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of TV, plenty of press. On Bootsy's record alone, the funk capital of the world, there was Reverend Sharpton. There was Samuel Jackson. There was Buckethead. There was the bassist out of his band who just recently passed away. I can't think of his name.
Gap Band? The Gap Band's bassist.
It was another. I'm sorry, but there was star after star. There was a track with Ice Cube and Chuck D.
Word to Chuck, just saw Chuck.
And Bootsy. And we're sitting in here with three connoisseurs, and you're telling me you never even heard that there was the funk capital of the world was released last April 27th, 2011.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And he sat in on the Jimmy Kimmel show. He sat in with the Channel 13 dude, the real Tabitha Smiley.
Right.
He did the Monique show. But because there was no repetition on the radio,
right,
there was no radio play in several markets, nothing could build the momentum because the corporate structure does not allow funk to be played inside of the radio stations. Tom Joyner was on the record.
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean doesn't allow it? I mean, no funk? Is there a stated policy?
Funk Free Fridays.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Is there a stated policy? Is there a reason that funk?
Young kids don't know about it.
How can they not? Because you listen. I mean,
because you're the only one that's playing it.
How are we so far removed from the roots of hip hop, even and I'm not a young person. You're right, and I'm not an old person, But I'm older than these kids. But how in the devil did they get so? The funk doctor is coming back to ask this question. Funk doctor come ask this. How in the devil did they get so far removed from the roots of the music that they love?
Hip hop didn't.
They don't even know that this is funk in the background.
I don't want to misrepresent.
Because to quote Houdini, funk ain't nothing but a four-letter word that's often smelled but seldom heard. Listen to the bass drum hit the ground. The bass sounded like it weighed at least a pound. They knew where it came from.
Oh no.
Go on, doctor.
Come on,
doctor. Now, you did hear me say there was a track with Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, and Chuck D.
Right.
They were, yes, we want to be on this record. Absolutely.
Right. Word to Snoop.
Absolutely. But what did not happen is that there is a marketing process. If the young kids, if we had taken that record first and did not go back and try to bring his real fans first and make them aware that Bootsy was back, and the real people on Power 106, let's say, Love Big Boy.
Power who?
Exactly.
Boy, I know her.
One or what?
So there was this dichotomy. It was about trying to allow his true fans to know it was the first studio record Bootsy's made in 12 years. So you had to go back and get his real fans first, through press
Right.
and blogs, like Bootsy's Back, and keep it authentic and keep it real. But that couldn't be done through radio, and could not be sustained
Right.
through a television show here or there that
Right.
only had one play. Not like what we can do here.
Absolutely fascinating.
Not like what we can do here. Then you said, well, let's go on the radio and let's play that track with that hip hop track with Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg and
Right.
Chuck D. Well, then to the younger kids who doesn't know who Bootsy is, then it looks manufactured.
Right.
Then it looks like, oh, that was bought. And you got 6 to 8 weeks. I'm gonna let you talk in a second, but then we'll get into all the musicology, history and
Well,
stuff.
we're actually
of
going to
it.
take a break, but I want you to finish that point.
And then like if we put it on Power 106, and you got like a quick 6 weeks and a lot of money that you
Right.
have to play, to pay or play to get that on. And then the younger kids, if you haven't brought it up right, the real
Yeah.
fans will go,
I gotta tailgate it when she gets through. When you come back. Oh, okay, so I would really, really, really like to say also, George Clinton was an absolute innovator. Clinton and Bootsy, these were the young voices, the rebellious slap in the face that the radio was just about to get. When George put the wedding dress on and walked out of the barber shop and said, if I don't get arrested before I get to the corner, this is how we doing the next concert. Or got up on Barry Gordy's table and peed on it. This is Parliament Funkadelic. This is gangster music that refused not to be heard. It was the voice of young America. So you have to understand, in the moment that we live in, even you have to have the rebellion, man, and even to have Cube, Chuck, and Snoop on the same record, you gotta still include Drake, Wayne, and then you gotta go younger than them, the underlings to them, to help Bootsy to come back, and then you gotta bring them back in an exalted state, because he was the blueprint. So you have to have a Jay-Z introduce his new record and bring Bootsy in properly. So what I'm saying to you guys out there in Radio Land is, Bootsy and George was not just music, man. That was an attitude.
And a blueprint and lifestyle.
Attitude, a blueprint, and a lifestyle of absolute rebellion. And if you don't got that, you ain't got kids, man. And so I don't want to side with the corporations because they full of shit. But what I'm gonna say is, you got to have rebellious honesty coming out the streets, and you got to refuse not to be heard. It's a certain element of that. I'm gonna give it to Little Richard too. It's a lot of people who will just like, look, you about to hear me. And so, I want to just tag that on the Queen's comments, man. It's more than music. Funk is not just music, man. Funk is that brick coming through your window. You got to understand, it was en route. And we need that again.
Okay, with that, we're going to go to break. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Funkology 101 on a whole new mission today. We are just setting it up to pass the torch to a brave new world, a brave way, hosted and produced by Miss Ruth Carson. That's going to be starting next month.
Brave, recognized, brave,
y'all. Brave, recognized, brave, y'all.
Attitude, blueprint, and lifestyle.
That's
Word.
what I'm talking about.
All right, we're having some fun here in the studios of LA Talk Live. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back after these very important messages. Do not go away.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and hosts of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Walk, run, climb, play. Solgar number 7 can help. Feel the difference for yourself. Solgar number 7 actually shows improvement in joint comfort within 7 days. Now you can start to get back on track fast and pursue the activities you love. Solgar number 7 is a breakthrough in joint care with no glucosamine and no chondroitin. The advanced bioactives in Solgar number 7 help to increase flexibility, mobility, range of motion, and actually shows improvement within just 7 days. One capsule, once a day, is all you need. When stiff joints occasionally say no, Solgar number 7 says yes. Visit Solgar.com and learn more about Solgar number 7 today. That's www.solgar.com, www.solgar.com. Solgar number 7, official sponsors of Here's to Your Health with Josh Lane and LA Talk Live.
Journey Sisters is an organization that embodies and captivates women from all walks of life. Our membership includes 44 women that are constantly growing in the areas of personal development and community involvement. Monthly, we offer free leadership classes at McKay's Restaurant. Journey aims to inform women in the areas of heart disease and HIV and AIDS. Experience the journey now by logging into www.journeymosaicinc.com. Toll free 888-906-5519. Journey with no excuses.
Hey LA, are you getting out to vote on Tuesday, November 6th? I know I am. This is Lady J of Lady J's Wild World of Sports, and I'm joining my family right here, LA Talk Live, and encouraging the citizens of Los Angeles to get out and vote on Election Day. As you know, this is one of the most important elections in our American history, and we need everyone in LA to register and have a voice on November 6th. Currently, the state of California, the state we live in, has 6.5 million people eligible, but not registered to vote. And about half of those voters live in LA County. So I'm joining the family here at LA Talk Live and encouraging you to register and vote on Tuesday, November 6th. And if you haven't yet registered, don't worry. You have until midnight on October 22nd. And you can now even register online. So there is no excuse. That's right. If you have a signature filed online with DMV or a state ID number, you can now register to vote at registertovote.ca.gov. And don't forget to join us here on Tuesday, November 6th for LA Get Out and Vote, our live Election Day coverage from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., where we're going to keep you tuned in exclusively to LA election news and poll coverage. All day right here on my station, LA Talk Live, where we are more than just talk. Okay?
One, two.
Nasty, not classy. The taxi, the backseat, passing out gasping. He like it way appealing with feeling, revealing the skill that builds the mad thrills. Then she like it off the map and odd places, embracing the hasty pace with boots laced up. He like to play new roles to add spice, but she has a husband, he has a wife. She's home in LA at the Sky Bar, highballing mad devices with ice on. He caught her glancing as she moved past him. He twisted the neck to check out that classic. She got a tasteful face and curvaceous, graceful and playful, bounce to catch cases. Based on the basic stats I just spat, Dream State was the safest move for contact.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You listen to the X-Man in the background.
Yo, hottie.
Another one of my favorites. Yo. I just like when that starts. Yo. It's almost meditative, in fact. So this is from the 24th letter as well. Way ahead of its time. A little track, a little something he calls Yo Hottie.
Yo Hottie.
Again, the lyricism in this is so complex. So sexy. Check it out.
He likes the whips and chains, but refrains while she wishes that he stretches sex range. He introduced a method of two-way dreams and commenced projecting mad foreplay. She mentally received his hot touch head rush every time he thrust a so potent. He took it to the south and out back then, back to the thrust that kept her head spinning. She took it to the east and then screamed. Melted to the next scene.
So sexy, so complicated, but so beautiful, amazing, man.
Hey, Yo
How do
Hottie,
you come up with these lyrics?
Yo Hottie was a clearly 2012 experience. That's a person. A man was married to his wife. A girl was married to her husband. They couldn't get together. They wanted to do the right thing, so they had an affair online with Avatar. Yo Hottie.
And check out the bass line on this bad boy, dude. You just kicked the door in with this. So funky. Oh, so funky, boy. I tell you. Man, Victor, the X-Man Taylor, live in the studios here of LA Talk Live. And we are so honored to have you, my brother, back with us.
Much love. Much love. That's Yo Hottie. That was I thought that we needed one kind of risque, kind of club banger, but still, bring a little bit of what was happening. So Avatars was the way that love affair went down, and that whole
What is that
video.
drum pattern in there?
Yeah, that's a koto. That's a koto
Crazy.
instrument on top of it's an African derived instrument with a kind of a Hindu feel.
Now, I just want you to catch a little bit. So I'm gonna just drop this in the background. Now, these two pieces of music are probably at least 20 years apart. Check this out. Listen to the bass line on it. Hold up now. Check this out. See if you know what this is. Listen to that bass on. Word. Okay, so we just listened to Yo Hottie.
Oh, you killed it.
And this is a little mandrill.
Yeah,
one of my favorites by
is.
mandrill.
That's what it is.
Don't mess with people. Listen to the complicated bass tracks in this. Don't mess with people. This is a great song too. Very complex lyrics on this one as well. But I just had to kind of bring that one back after that funky joint you did, Yo Hottie.
Thanks a
It's
lot.
kind of in there, right?
Hey, I'm honored for you to play them two back to back.
Man, and they're years apart. And look how you just bridge the gap, man, by keeping that funk alive and so modern.
It's important.
It's so
man.
relevant,
It's
man.
important.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
When we talk about funk, you know something? I'm just keep it real, you know what I'm saying? I thank God that I was a musician and able to pull off the things that I feel, but when we get to talking about these kind of moments and I hear records like the one playing right now, it's like I tense up like a muscle. It's not even about the music, man. This is just something that got to be in the midst of the BS we hearing from Romney and different folks, and you can't dance underwater like this without letting it out, man. You got to dance underwater and not get wet by being funkified and rectified through gatherings that took place that made musicians do what this recording is doing right here. It's imperative that the engineers, that the 24-track tape that ran, the 2-inch, that it went down and that they printed this, and somebody like Bernie Grumman probably mastered it, who taught me how to master 45 RPMs, make sure you're doing less than 8 minutes to get the maximum sound out. I'm talking about pioneers that put the game down and built the equipment they worked on. That's what makes Bernie Grumman special, is all them engineers built that stuff. They didn't go to Guitar Center and buy no stuff. They built what they worked on. And that kind of stuff is what makes recordings like this. You gotta thank God.
This is funky right here. This little break here is so funky. It almost puts you in the mind of a Boom Chicka Wow Wow movie, but
it's ridiculous, man.
This is all real pure music, man. Boys on them keyboards in the 80s, the 70s, man.
If that don't make you put on a leather jacket.
This is a little something we gonna do just to get you in the spirit for Halloween. If you don't know how else to dress up for Halloween, keep it funky. Is what I always like to say.
I'm gonna tell you something, man.
Man, oh man.
So what do you do, man? Now we're in a day of regurgitation. And I do appreciate rappers for sampling, and I definitely was one of the ones to sample. Mac 10 wanted me to do on them things. I didn't want to touch Mary Jane by Rick James. I did that for Mac 10, and it went gold. I was happy it went gold. But damn it, Rick James already did that record.
did the damn thing, right?
Yeah, to death.
All right, so listen, man, we just got a few
I'm
more minutes
hopeless.
left on the show. And, there was a little bit of break into this song here, man, where they kind of broke off into a little bit of something Ruth talked about earlier that Jada Pinkett got off into.
Yeah.
A little metal, right? A
Yeah.
little metalish. Because,
Yeah.
in those days, in this period, mid-'70s of funk, metal was just emerging out of funk, out of white groups, funky white groups like Grand Funk,
Yeah.
who meshed funk and metal, or funk and rock, with a metalish tinge to it, because it was so heavily laden, wah wah, with the guitars and the Gata Vida, the whole nine. Right now, all that, right? We got a testimony here, Tabernacle, up in the church of Funkology 101 today.
And 30 minutes of Indagata Devita.
But I brought that up to talk and to tie into something that you've been working on recently.
Right. Word
Let's
up to
talk
X
about
hang-up.
that. X hang-ups.
Okay, so we're gonna
Show
drop.
me that piece of music. I
we're
don't
gonna
have
drop
it here, I
it.
don't think.
We-
I'm going to see if I can find it.
We're dropping Faded Back. Quincy Jones documented on his first version. Really, to me, Quincy Jones had the first versions of that unsung thing, but I forgot the name of his show. But he actually interviewed people who were in the nightclubs when Jimi Hendrix first got to the nightclubs overseas, and they were describing Jimi Hendrix music as some heavy ass metal falling from the ceiling. That's how they described his music before the
Wow.
records. And I think what Quincy was trying to do was give us a good feel of where the term was coming from, trying to describe what the hell Jimmy was doing, because I've heard his guitar flushed the toilet one day. But anyway, back to VH1. So last season, a season and a half ago, VH1 had a show called Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp that I had a pleasure of being on. I want to give Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses a real big shout out. Duff McKagan is a bass player from Guns N' Roses. Duff McKagan saw me first and called me by name. I want X-Man in my band. And I was so honored because a lot of bass players was hoping Duff would call him. He called me, he called Paul Krause, GC Claudio. He called all of us together and put together the X Hang-Ups. He named the band the X Hang-Ups.
And I always wonder why X hang-ups.
I know, because that was very X-Manish. And then the conversation was, well, do you want to make it X Hang-Ups or EX Hang-Ups? I was like, man, make it EX, because y'all are killing me with this. But, hey, I love the rock and roll. And again, I'm playing the bass while I'm letting it rip. And it's just a pleasure, man. Me and Paul Krause kept the fire burning.
PK, big up, shout out to PK.
PK.
Hope
So
you listen.
I bought the Public Enemy thing into it, though. What I did
man.
is I rebirthed Chuck D. Hail to the homies, kings of the funky rhythm. Quest for style is a must for the other men who thought it again and again. Logical to fate, the hell of a team, mission impossible. Listen to lyrics, I'll lose a lazy listen to get what you in, leave 11 grams so superior. I know you're fool, you gotta be, cause you try to play just hard. Step off, fool, we're banking them. You know I'm point blank range, X hang, handling your speaker like a pit bull, biting the woofers into your speaker, and your meters taking the level to the next phase. Clocking the dollar because a crime pays. Paid in full, a fool can never handle the talent, taking to never be a loser in the studio. Who cares if you're cutting Pro Tools? If it sounds whack, punk it off on a 4-track. I'm in the ghetto as a digital prisoner, living the life of a trigger with a lyric that a barrier, making the average lyricist think twice for crossing the path of a man never known for taking the laws. Bold, strong, X hang-ups to claim, then drain your brain, insane, who's to blame? Trying to follow my logical lingo to lyrical hype, Mike. Take it to the bridge. I'm doing that whole damn thing.
And you need
And
to
I'm doing that
hear-
while I'm killing the bass.
You need to hear him perform it. You need to hear the track itself.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
No,
It's really
man,
ugly.
I'm telling
You're
you,
killing me
boy,
right
it
now.
It's
just
one of the ugliest combinations.
murdered him. Yeah, man.
So you got to respect the Bomb Squad. You got to respect Chuck D. And so you got to respect dirty New York streets and hardcore times on black people and what it equaled. And so I mixed that with where I was at now. The fact that Guns N' Roses was an absolute slap 'em in the face rock band who didn't give a damn. And then put the bass guitar in my hand to give props to Bootsy and those that came before me. And then add that Jimi Hendrix element. And we put that together. and we got X Hangups. Take it to the bridge. You can Google it. You can go right on retweet it. We got about 11,000 hits now.
Wow, amazing.
People are becoming a lot of fans now.
You could bring it with you next time. I know I know
Yeah.
as a radio network, as a broadcast network, because we don't just do radio. If you're watching, you can see us on camera right now,
It's
live
all
and living
good.
color, right?
I got it on my phone though. If you got an eighth
man.
inch, it don't matter though.
I'm gonna slap one out there to you so we can play
Yeah.
that. We're gonna use that
Yeah.
as our rock out music because we only got 5 more minutes.
Dope.
Got to make room for the next show coming up at 5 o'clock, and that is Miss Starlet Quarles with the dialogue, real talk, real people. That's gonna be coming up tonight. Incredible show. Her second live broadcast here in the studios of LA Talk Live. This sister has political clout like you wouldn't believe, and just incredible to talk to, listen to, and to look at. Thank God for the camera. She's a real cutie.
And
so
to look at.
stay tuned for that as well. That's coming up at 5. We've got a few more minutes, so I'm going to get some cabling out there to you to rock that because that is an amazing cut. Again, tell them how they can get their ears on that cut. Not for free either.
Okay.
Dang it.
Actually, right now we're doing a free retweetia move of Take It to the Bridge by the X Hangups, and we're allowing people to get hold of it for free because it's really just it's just a joint.
And you got many of them.
Yeah, we got a lot of joints,
I hear that.
and we really enjoy the people.
Well, how kind of you, sir.
We enjoy the people to come out and just go to Retweetia. I'm gonna try to find the exact Retweetia. Until then, go to X Hangups at Twitter. X Hangups at Twitter. EXHANGUPS at Twitter, and you'll get the Retweetia.
Say it slower. X
Hangups. The EXHANGUPS. So that's at Twitter, and you can actually get the Retweetia link. And I'm gonna pull up the song on my cell phone, and we're gonna get a listen of it.
Standing at the ready for you right now on Captain X.
I'll let you know when we get to it. I'm searching now.
All right, so let's swing to Ruth as you do that. Ruth, tell us a little bit about what people can expect for your new show, The Brave Way, coming up November 2012, Wednesday afternoon.
Well, Vic, playing live and rapping.
And I gotta apologize to you, man. I didn't get the chance to see Ecstasy naked this time.
It's all good.
That's why she couldn't get out her clothes.
Fabulous
I'm
for
gonna
me.
be on her show playing.
There we go.
Because I'm so glad he didn't pull out Ecstasy
Oh,
because
see.
I can feel that.
Wow. Yeah,
you know?
you got it. You got it. I'll
Thank
hand
you
it right
very
off. No
much.
need to steal.
I was sure about
I'll
to.
pass it right on off to you.
Woo.
And, we'll be reconvening here, God willing, if you guys got time again next week. Otherwise, the Funk
I'm
Doctor
here.
will be back.
I'm here.
Let's funk it on out. We'll bring Mr. Taylor back along with Ecstasy. But I'm going to wait until y'all are ready to make it happen on your show.
No,
Right.
no. You know what we have to do? I think we've got some momentum right now.
Mhm.
I think whoever synergy right now, and I think it's just apropos. Next week, let's bring out Miss Ecstasy.
Let's bring it.
Yeah, bring her
And
in.
let's keep it going. I don't want
her
to give
naked.
people
I'm
4
good.
weeks to forget.
We gonna work it out.
Let's
So,
work it out.
I'm
That's
a-
part of what we need to do. That's because that's what's missing, is because we don't have enough repetition now for
Repetition is the key.
for people like Vic.
I like
and this kind of
continuity.
music.
Yeah.
Continuity.
Yeah, continuity.
Repetition.
Continuum.
Continuum.
Keep it going.
Repetitiveness.
That's right.
You know.
Right. Reciprocity.
Well, I'm
All the above.
I'm gonna give it my all because again, just talking about the attitude of funk, I'm definitely I gotta have it in my heart. Through all of the shit we gotta go through underwater, trying to exist in this United States at this time, you got to break through. You got to break
Amen
through.
on that, brother.
So here's
Amen
Take
on
It
that,
to the
no doubt.
Bridge. Word up to Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. Paul Krause, X-Man on vocals and bass at the same time. Paul Krause on guitar. Matt Starr on drums. Recorded in an airplane hangar.
Yeah,
Let's
y'all.
go. You
Okay,
ready?
stay tuned, y'all. We'll see you next week. Funkology 101. Yours truly, Richard Carr, the X-Man, telling God willing, Miss Ruth Carson back, picking up the mantle, taking it over from here. Bring it to his X.
Here we go.
Hail to the homies, kings of the funky rhythm. Quest for style is a must for the other men who thought it again and again. Logical to fate, a hell of a team, mission impossible. Listen to lyrics, sound loose and lazy. Listen to get what you in, leave you leather grammar so superior. I know you're a fool, you gotta be, cause you try to play just hard. Step off forward, breaking them. You know, victim of the sounds of X-Hang. Handling your speaker like a pit bull, biting the woofers and tweeters, speaking your meters, taking the level to the next phase. Fucking the dollar because I cried rampage. Fate is full of who can never handle the talent, take it to never be a loser in the studio. Who gets it? He cutting Pro Tools if it sounds right. Punk it better off on a 4-track. I'm in the ghetto as a digital prisoner, living the life of a trigger with the lyric and a barrier, making the average lyricist think twice across the path of a man never known for taking the laws. Fall strong, X hang-ups to claim, then drain your brain, insane, who's to blame? Trying to follow my logical lingo to live behind my take it to the bridge. Take it to the bridge. Take it to the bridge. Ha. Take it to the bridge. Cutthroat dope, riding the level of a low and boom, and coming at you with the come of the verse 2. Strong, shut up and listen because it's going on. Thumbing through pages and lyrics, making a new song. Gone, looking the structure for situational variance. Two-face pumps are steady hitting the canvas. Living the thorn wrench in the game of the next man. You're dissing the X-Man, backhands the plan. What? PK Shred, get your genius back by X-Man, bass lyric and bomb rush. Nothing to deliver with the hell of a dope beats. Rock and roll traction, trucks and cold feet. That's how it's done when you're playing the next game. You're dealing with X hang-ups, killing the next game. Running like a fugitive to serving them well. What? Just go. Let's go. Move the show. Ball. Take it to the bridge. Take it to the bridge. What? Gonna take it to another level, kicking and flowing the hell of rhythm, cause no other can do this. Flowing grammatical fire, no for taking the stage. Rage is what I'm feeling on a personal rampage. PK. Sculptor, hitting like a sledgehammer, hit her, put a spike in the rough, defending honor with the power of a clenched fist. L hang, take it to the bridge. Balls pulling people like a powerful magnet. Stand to the man now, it's time to go public. Quitting the craving of a just hard society. Rolling in the ghetto with the hell of a chemistry. Designed for hyping of every dope beat. Need a steady pound the pavement for the play on the city streets. Total control, we got soul. What? Don't be a fool, get with the movement of the EXHANGUB. Tipping the scales, release the records at a steady going platinum. Stacking the back of the arena so we can bump it up. Gathering the path at the part of the Red Sea. They got to wait for the homies out to follow me. Killing the stamina of a sucker trying to stand in our ways. And taking over at a critical phase. What? Take it to the bridge. Take it to the bridge. X hang up Rock Rough Street.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.